It is a privilege for Yamato Scientific to introduce our new model ADL311S Spray Dryer. This equipment can be applied in the following industries: pharmaceutical, food, chemical, light, industrial, and agricultural. Next, we will show you how to assemble the ADL311S equipment. To start, before placing any part, the voltage to be used by the client must be checked. This must be done by opening the front door of the equipment. In the inner part on the right side, we can find all available options. First, we will start by connecting the air pressure hose at the back part of the equipment. There are two valves. The hose must be connected to the one below. The one above is used when we are going to work together with a GAS410 model. This model, the GAS410, is a cold trap for working with organic solvents, but in this case, we will focus only on the ADL311S model. The golden plug on the hose must be found locally by the user, as it depends on the compressor the user is using. We will proceed to place the air distributor. There are some important recommendations when placing this distributor. Use the small black rubber ring. This is placed on the air distributor, and then we will place the second large black rubber ring. This one goes around the inside of the distributor. How to install the air distributor? 2 screws are placed to the sides of the equipment, and then the distributor is slid in smoothly. Then, the third screw will be placed, securing the distributor to the main equipment. It is important to securely fix the screws to the equipment using the key that is included in the same kit. We will proceed to install the pipe. The injector is placed into the middle of the air distributor and screwed in until it is completely secured. Then, we will place the other pipe on top of the equipment. This one must be secured completely from the outside of the equipment. If for some reason it stays in the middle, it must be removed and placed again until it is in the correct position. We will proceed to install the glass chamber. In the lower left part of the equipment, there is a steel plate. This must be raised with the black knob located on the same side next to the equipment. On this plate, there are 2 steel pins which function is to hold up the chamber. When placing the chamber, please take into account that these pins must match the hooks that are on the bottom of the chamber. The plug port of the compartment must be facing outward. Please remember to always hold the chamber upright until it is fully secured. Something important that should be mentioned is that the glass must never touch the air distributor. The sign to make sure that the chamber is perfectly. We will proceed to install the plug temperature sensor. First, the tip of the sensor must be placed at the chamber inlet. This only needs to be screwed in to secure it to the chamber. Then, the other part of the sensor is attached to the main equipment in the same way. We will proceed to install the cyclone basin and the collecting vessel. First, the small white gasket must be placed towards the chamber. Then the cylinder and the collecting vessel are placed towards the equipment using the clamps that are included, securing it softly but facing it towards the chamber. Finally, we will proceed to the last step. This is the installation of the air extraction hose. First, the gasket is placed on top of the cylinder. Then we will connect the hose, securing it with the clamp towards the collecting vessel. Please remember to do it gently so as not to damage the glass part. Then we will place the other part of the hose on the back of the equipment, securing it in the same way. Finally, we will place the last injector of the equipment diagonally. It is important for the needle to be facing outside of the equipment for its correct placement. Finally, this is the correct way in which we should assemble our ADL311S model. How to connect the air drain hose of the equipment? The hose is connected to the main outlet tube of the equipment by tightly fixing the hose to the white tube. We will proceed to show you our GAS410, which works in combination with the ADL311S model. This is a protection device in case of nitrogen gas rollover. This equipment has a solvent collection system and a cooling trap. The equipment can be operated together with other materials of a flammable nature without risk of causing a fire. Its collection system prevents organic solvents from spreading to the environment. This equipment can be operated with nitrogen gas. We will start with the installation of the GAS410 model. Please note that in order to install this equipment, we must do it carefully. First, we'll remove the bulb holder from the ADL311S. Now we will place the adapter to the ADL311S model using the screws included with the equipment. Next, we will proceed by moving the hose and placing it in the adapter that is next to the ADL311S model. This equipment has two flexible stainless steel hoses, one long and one short. Now we will place the short hose in a safe place as we will proceed to connect the long hose to the GAS410 model. This one must be connected to the input that says Duct A, placing the ring in between the hose and inlet. This hose must be secured with the clamp. Then we will proceed to place the other end of the ADL311S model in the adapter where it says Duct A, proceeding in the same way. We first place the ring between the hose and the inlet, securing it with the second clamp. Now we will proceed to place the short hose. This goes in the GAS410 model where it says Duct B, and it will be placed in the same way, securing it with the third clamp. We will place the other end on the ADL311S model, removing the inlet filter cover where it says Duct B, and placing the ring between the inlet and the hose, securing it with the fourth clamp. The fourth step is to attach the air pressure hose. This one will be placed on the GAS410 model where it says Pressure Air Out, securing it with the small clamp. We will place the other end on the ADL311S model where it says GAS410 Pressure Air In. Then the smooth hose will be connected to the GAS410 model where it says N2GAS410 Out. Please remember securing it with the small clamp. The other end will be connected to the model ADL311S where it says GAS410 N2 Gas In. We will proceed to place the third hose. This is the longest one. We will connect it to the GAS410 model where it says N2 Cylinder Connect. The other end of this hose must be connected to the nitrogen gas tank, which the client must have ready before beginning to work with the equipment. We have two gray cables of the same size. We can see that these cables, one is female, the other is male. We are going to connect these to the GAS410 model where it says Connector A and Connector B. Now we will proceed to place them on the ADL311S model in the same way where it says Connector A and Connector B, placing female with male and vice versa. We will proceed to place the last gray hose. This will be placed in the extractor duct that is in the GAS-410 model where it says exhaust. The other end can be connected to a biosafety hood. Please note, however, that the steam produced can be released into the atmosphere without any problem. Now we will proceed with the last step. This is the installation of the collection vessel to the GAS-410 model. This will just be secured with the black plastic clamp included with the equipment. Please take into consideration that before starting operation of the machine, the safety valve must be open. This is the green valve located at the bottom of the equipment. We will start with the spraying process, but before this step, we will need to install some important accessories to work with the equipment. First, we will connect the air hose to the compressor. We will proceed to remove the support to then connect the feeding tube. Taking into consideration that this tube has a small silicone ball, which must be placed on the right side of the equipment. Next, we will place the support to the equipment. This one has a slit which must be facing outward. Before screwing in the bracket, it must be pushed up to secure the feeding tube. Finally, we will place the feeding tube towards the injector, which is located in the upper part of the equipment. First, we will turn on the equipment with the black switch that is on the right side. Next, we will turn on the control panel using the gray switch. Next, we will select the temperature control. We can see that there are two small screens. One says inlet temp and the other says outlet temp. In the middle of these two screens, there's a silver switch with which we will select the temperature. If this switch is up, the temperature will be controlled on the screen that says outlet temp. If the switch is down, the temperature will be controlled on the screen that says inlet temp. This time, we will control it with the switch down. This means that the temperature will be in inlet temp. Then we will turn on the switch blower. This is located on the control panel. We must make sure that when we touch the blower, its background changes from black to white. Then we must turn on the fan volume button. We will do this where it says blower. The airflow speed will be seen and heard by turning this button on. We will turn on the equipment heater where it says heater. This should only be pressed taking into account that the screen will change the background from black to white. When we turn it on, we must take into account that the temperature is going to be low, and this will be adjusted until it reaches approximately 150 degrees. Once the desired temperature is reached, we will adjust the pressure with the regulator found on the control panel on the button that says Atomizing Air. Then we will prepare the sample. On this occasion, we will work with coffee and distilled water. We will place the feeding hose in the distilled water and start feeding using the feeding pump. This button is located on the control panel where it says Pump FWD. We must take into consideration that pressing this button will change its color. Then we will turn on the volume of the pump to start its operation. This is turned on with the black button that says Pump. The next machine will start to feed. Next, the automatic process of water spraying will begin and the temperature will begin to change. When the temperature is stable, the feeding tube must be removed from the water and placed in the coffee. At that moment, the machine will start the spraying process of the coffee. This one will be drying up in the chamber to then go out into the cyclone and finally will be received turning into powder in the collecting vessel. When the temperature is stable, the feeding tube must be removed from the water and placed into the coffee. At that moment, the machine will start the spraying process of the coffee. This will be drying up in the chamber to then go out in the cyclone and finally will be received turning into powder in the collecting vessel. Once we are done receiving the example in the collecting vessel, we must collect the food tube in the distilled water in order to feed and clean the machine to be able to turn off the equipment. Then we must stop the feeding pump by pressing Pump. Next, we will stop the heater and we will wait for the temperature to drop. Since our temperature has dropped to 60 degrees Celsius or more, we must turn off the blower. We must immediately set the pressure to 0 and then turn off the equipment using the gray switch that is in front of the equipment. Then we will turn off the black switch that is on the right side of the equipment. We will proceed to remove the collecting vessel. We will do this to show you the example of liquid coffee turned into powder. As we mentioned at the beginning of the presentation of the ADL-311S model, this is a spray dryer equipment that turns liquid into powder. Now we will show you some of the examples that we can obtain with this equipment and in which industries it can be applied. We have it in powdered ceramic, drugs, lipids, fertilizers, and as you were able to see in the example, coffee. This means that the ADL-311S model is applicable for food, pharmaceutical, chemical, industrial, and agricultural industries.